Hello. Very good afternoon to all of you from here in Copenhagen on a special media briefing that we are doing with the visit of Prime Minister that is underway to Denmark. A very interesting briefing. Just before we hand over the floor, we are actually doing this briefing from the Christiansborg Palace in Copenhagen, where the actual meetings are taking place, and it's very unusual and unique settings in which we are doing our media briefing. We have with us Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra, as well as Secretary West Sanjay Verma, the Minister of External Affairs, to give us a sense of the discussions that are actually currently underway. As I speak, the second India-Nordic Summit is still on, and we are privileged that both of them have been able to step out to just brief us, because Prime Minister will shortly be leaving from here to the airport. Sir, you have the floor. Sound is, I think, okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Secretary Sanjay Verma, spokesperson Arindam Bakshi, friends from the media, thank you very much for coming here on this special and urgently organized press briefing. Today was the day of engagement with our Nordic partners, as part of which Prime Minister Shri Modi participated in right now on the ongoing Second India-Nordic Summit with the Prime Ministers of Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Sweden and Norway. Prior to the summit, Prime Minister also held bilateral summit meetings with his counterparts from Finland, Iceland, Sweden and Norway. What I would try and do is briefly capture the substance of conversations, first with his counterparts from the four countries that I mentioned, Finland, Iceland, Sweden and Norway, and thereafter go to the important elements of cooperative partnership that was discussed as part of the second India-Nordic Summit. His meetings with the four Nordics leaders started with his first meeting with his counterpart from Norway, where the principal focus of discussion and partnership was on one, blue economy and its various facets, renewable energy, in particular cooperative possibilities in the field of hydroelectric and green hydrogen. 3, the technology and investment ties. In this context, Prime Minister invited Norwegian pension funds to partner in India's growth story. 4th, in the health sector, in which the two leaders talked about cooperation relating to joint research in vaccines and development of health infrastructure. And 5, cooperation in building and restoring water bodies in India. They also talked about continuing cooperation and coordination in the UN Security Council, as well as bilateral cultural cooperation, including in yoga between the two countries. Prime Minister Shri Modi's second meeting was with his counterpart from Sweden, where the principal focus of discussion and cooperation was one on clean technology and sustainable solutions. This was discussed broadly under 2 rubrics: one relating to the investments by Sweden in India in clean technology and sustainable solution, and 2, partnerships in research and innovation in this field, drawing on very successful partnership under the LEAD IT program, which is the program relating to industrial transition. The two leaders also spoke about S&T cooperation, including polar research, and in terms of new areas, talked about need to shape new partnership in the field of space, Arctic research, and defense. His next meeting was with the Prime Minister of Iceland. This year, India and Iceland are celebrating the 50th anniversary of our bilateral relations. Discussions between the two leaders focused on cooperation in the field of geothermal energy and its various aspects, including research, training, skill development, and innovation in this space. The two prime ministers also spoke about cooperation in blue economy, as also was with the previous two leaders, including in the field of fisheries and food processing. His next and last bilateral summit meeting was with the Prime Minister of Finland, where the focus of conversation was to build on the existing strength which India and Finland have achieved in the entire ecosystem of digital partnership. More specifically, they talked about cooperation in the field of digital innovation, in the field of digital goods and platforms, including infrastructure such as 5G and 6G. Joint establishment, we have already recently established a joint center of excellence in the field of quantum computing. And lastly, the investment in the technology sector by the Finnish companies who already have a very strong presence, companies such as Nokia and Ericsson. The two prime ministers also talked about women empowerment, and they also noted the upcoming completion of a biorefinery project in Numalgiri in Assam. Thereafter, the Prime Minister started, and as I said, it's about to conclude now, the second Nordic summit with the 5 Nordic Prime Ministers. I'll broadly list out the three things which, three clusters which ran common to the Nordic summit, entire discussions. One is the need to combine the skill capabilities in Nordic countries with the scale of India. 2, clean and green growth solutions. And 3, to forge new innovation partnerships. The discussions during the Nordic summit were held, are being held basically in 3 clusters. One relating to multilateral cooperation in the context of COVID aftermath. 2, the climate and sustainable development and blue economy. And 3, the innovation segment. I'll just very briefly list out the key points which came up in conversation during the Nordic summit. The first is that Prime Minister appreciated the Nordic countries as a very reliable partner in the last 75 years of India's journey of growth and economic development. It was noted that Nordic countries in India have shared values of freedom and democracy and the rule-based order, and also share perspectives on various global matters. The areas of broad cooperative partnership with all the 4 Nordic countries essentially focused on one, which matches also with the Indian developmental priorities. 1, relating to urban renewal. 2, river cleaning. 3, the entire domain of renewable energy. And 4, the skill development. Under the segment of multilateral cooperation post-COVID aftermath, Prime Minister highlighted that how India has used the IT platforms for effective outreach and monitoring of COVID vaccination in India, and as part of India's belief that such platforms are a matter of global good, he also mentioned that these platforms are available on open source basis. India also has not just made vaccines available to over 100 countries, but has also partnered with many nations in the capacity building of their partners. Prime Minister also said that there is a need for a temporary TRIPS waiver for vaccine production globally with a view to ensure its availability, vaccines availability to the needy countries. Prime Minister closed this segment by saying that there is a need for human-centric multilateral order which is designed to respond to the current global realities. Under the segment of climate and sustainable development and blue economy, Prime Minister clearly outlined India's commitment to sustainable, clean and green growth as reflected in Indian policies in this field on the ground. He also reiterated India's 5 commitments which were made in COP26, which is 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel by 2030, 50% of energy capacity to come from renewable energy by 2030, reduction of 1 billion tons in projected carbon emissions by 2030, the carbon intensity of India's economy to reduce by 45% by 2030, and net zero by 2070. The conversations also clearly brought out the need to focus on climate adaptation and climate resilience. In this context, Prime Minister also highlighted the need to strengthen partnerships with the 2 mechanisms which India has set up, which is one is CDRI and International Solar Alliance with Nordic countries. Prime Minister particularly emphasized the need to encourage people to change their lifestyles and promote what he has often and publicly called lifestyle for environment life. The summit also talked about structuring a network of blue economy partnerships between India and Nordic countries. In the last segment relating to innovation, which is a very strong area of India-Nordic partnership, they focused on innovation. In this, the focus was particularly on healthcare innovation, digital innovation, including, as I've already mentioned, when we spoke about discussions with Finland on digital goods and infrastructure, service innovation, and technology partnerships. I think all in all, Prime Minister's engagement this morning with the Nordic leaders individually in his bilateral summit, as also the discussions in the Nordic summit, second India-Nordic summit, have chalked out for the systems in India and also in the Nordic countries a very ambitious agenda of partnership, which I said earlier on will seek to combine and converge the skill capabilities, the innovation capabilities, the technology capabilities in Nordic countries with the opportunities in India, and I think will set the basis for a very strong trade, investment, and technology partnerships in months and years ahead. I thank you once again for coming here this afternoon for the special.
Thank you very much, sir. I know we are really tight on time, so we'll just take a couple of questions. Yeah, okay, I'll take. Okay. Siddhant, start, please. Sorry, no. Why don't you start? Pranay, please start.
विदेश सचिव महोदय, प्रणय उपाध्याय हूं एबीपी न्यूज से। मेरा सवाल इस चीज को लेकर है कि क्या आज भारत और नॉर्डिक देशों के बीच जो शिखर बैठक हुई, उसके बाद जिन विषयों को आपने रखा कोऑपरेशन के, तो क्या कोई इफेक्टिव इसके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए मैकेनिज्म और टाइमलाइन भी वर्कआउट हुआ है कि ये जो चीजें तय हुई हैं ये लागू हों और उसकी रेगुलर मॉनिटरिंग हो ताकि तीसरी समिट तक कुछ टेंजिबल रिजल्ट्स हासिल किए जा सकें?
Yeah, please.
So Siddhant from WION, how much was there the discussion of the Russian invasion of Ukraine during the bilaterals and during the summit? My first question. My second question, sir, when is the third India-Nordic summit going to happen? Any discussions on that?
Good noon, sir. I'm Arun from DD India. Sir, how would you define Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Denmark specifically in terms of Nordic? A lot of green component in this, green energy, focus on green energy. How would you define PM's visit? And yesterday, India and Denmark has formed the energy dialogue, energy policy dialogue. With any other Nordic countries, this kind of mechanism has been formed which focuses on energy dialogue or any ministerial setup between the governments as far as energy is concerned, sir, green energy.
So,
okay. जो आपका पहला प्रश्न था कि जो शिखर वार्ता में जिन भी विषयों पे वार्ता हुई, जो निर्णय लिए गए आगे आने वाले महीनों और सालों में, उनका टाइम बाउंड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किस प्रकार से होगा। देखिए, यदि ये तो पूरी तरह से स्पष्ट है और ये स्पष्ट रूप से वार्ता में भी उभर के आया कि वार्ता के हर एजेंडा आइटम पे जो निर्णय लिए जाएंगे उनका अवश्य ही टाइम बाउंड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन होगा। यदि आप पहली नॉर्डिक समिट के आउटकम्स देखें और उनकी समीक्षा करें कि उनका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन किस प्रकार से हुआ था, आप पाएंगे कि अधिकांशतः निर्णय जो हैं लगभग पूरी तरह से या काफ़ी रूप से कंप्लीटली इम्प्लीमेंट किए जा चुके हैं। तो यही प्रावधान जो है दूसरी इंडिया नॉर्डिक समिट के आउटकम से भी संबंध में रहेगा। जहाँ तक आपका यूक्रेन का प्रश्न था, मैं ये भी कहना चाहूँगा कि सिद्धांत का that both in the bilateral conversations and in the summit meeting also, the leaders did exchange views on matters of regional and global interest. That naturally included Ukraine also. There were also discussions on the Indo-Pacific. The last, I think, question yours was on the third summit. I really have no information as yet on that, but as we go along and once we have a decision, I'm sure you'll get to know.
He also wanted to know how would you define the energy policy? Is there anybody, and how do you define the visit to Denmark?
Okay, each Nordic country has a specific capacity which relates to the entire dimension of green growth, green and sustainable growth. And I think depending upon the strength of each of the countries, our bilateral mechanisms will shape a particular process which carries forward those capacities. So for example, in case of Denmark, as you would have heard yesterday, India and Denmark have entered into green strategic partnership. If you look at Norway, there are elements relating to green shipping, blue economy. Similarly, likewise with the other Nordic countries also. I think the effort is more on how best to optimize the strength of each Nordic country in a given area of the green domain, and then link it to the opportunities and the cooperative possibilities in India. And I think each country is structured bilaterally differently on that one. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your time, Foreign Secretary Sir, as well as to Secretary Shri Sanjay Verma for coming out here, literally as the summit is now concluding. Before I end, a small word of thanks also to the government of Denmark for graciously allowing us to organize this press briefing here in their Christiansborg Palace. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much.